Well, once again, we find ourselves on the beaches of Normandy and the town of Arromanches on this particular day. There's a wonderful museum in Arromanches, and if people want to know about what happened during the war, this is where to come. You will find all sorts of things. In particular of interest is the harbour, the man-made harbour. How they managed to build that without any of the spies or anything finding out about that is just a miracle in itself. Anyway, it was a major thing that we was able to set foot on the shore, or set tiles on the shore, if you like. But what it was, it's planning. It was a skillful game of deceit, actually, because there was so much evidence that the crossing would be at Calais. How this secret was kept was wonderful. Anyway, on the 6th of June 1944, we touched down on the beaches of Normandy. I then was seconded through my training for what they called before then hazardous service. That's what I was volunteered for, knowing what might happen. But anyway, I was posted from one post to another, mainly for the training at the Calais, where the commandos were trained. And I was sent up there, a very short stay, because the some Royal Marine units, infantry units, were also commandos later on. But the original commandos, that by name I mean, was the Army commandos. But the Royal Marines were doing this sort of thing. It was their duty to do this on board ship or whatever is required in the Dominions or in the Commonwealth. And putting that aside, that there were units formed and what they call the funnies to overcome what obstacles they might find across. We knew, of course, by intelligence and the SBS that scouted under darkness from submarines and dinges to the beaches of Normandy, and be able to make a map, pass on the map of what the hazards we might expect. Consequently, machinery as such, tanks used as they'd never been used before for things like flaying the mines and that type of thing. And also, when they hit the beaches, there are these, what they call the obstacles. But it was not only that. The Royal Marines also found out the samples of soil, and this was analysed, you know, to see what they would take and where it's best to put these things. So you will find a lot of these things like the centaurs beached on in the three branches: Sword Beach, Juno Beach, and Gold Beach. Sword Beach, the armoured support was in support of the infantry, number 3, 4 Commando, and one of the Royal Marine Commandos. And at Juno Beach, that came under the 2nd Canadian Division. That's the section that I was with. I was a radio operator signaller. And my experience and memory, which I would never ever forget, was of course the conditions. When we left on that morning, some of our troops are already there. The ones that dropped at Ranville and Pegasus, what was now known as Pegasus Bridge. But there they established that foothold where the Commander Brigade were to meet up. They did a marvellous job there, led by, and on the beaches, you all heard about Bill Millen playing the pipe them ashore, the typical Scottish encouragement into battle wherever in history. That's what I always love to hear, and so do everybody else. Hear the bagpipes. Wonderful this is. Anyway, well, coming back to my wandering in my mind, it was very, very rough when we left just past the Isle of Wight. You could not see a thing, unless not a ship in sight. You thought, oh my goodness, we'll go under any time. But when you were riding on the crest of a wave, the nearer you got, the more craft we saw. And coming on towards the beaches of Normandy, you hear the heavy gunfire from the warships, and you can see the flames of the town, and you wonder what you're doing. I'm sure this goes with everybody that landed on D-Day or any part of the war, that's the first thing they think about. I wonder what our parents, girlfriends or families are doing now. But that not only applied to us, it applied to the enemy. Coming back to this shore, the conditions, it was, as everybody knows, postponed for 2 days, but for 1 day, but it was no different anyway. We had to go. It was either then or never. We hit the beach there as a radio operator. I was able to guide it off the craft, and as I did, I saw a media reporter, I don't know who it was, he was more or less on the edge of the next thing, blown sky high. Their craft hit one of these obstacles, you know, the porcupine things like this. Each of these were on the beach with shells or things like that on the end of it. And if you hit them, of course, they exploded. Now, what happened there, I'm afraid, well, I nearly called a catastrophe. I don't think it would have stopped the landing, but it would have stopped a lot of craft. We hit one, and of course the one next to us, that hit one. But the worst of it is, I was guiding it off the rump, and the arc welded at the piece of metal. There was 2 pieces there. It broke, and I'd already unscrewed the cap, ready for a quick release and explosion. They fell. Luckily, they didn't nose first. Otherwise, it would have blown us sky high, the next and the next one. I believe I came of age that day because I saw no end of bodies being washed up and washed back again by the shore, coming on like floating, floating, floating. I would never forget that. And this is something. This is on the anniversary of that. Is it okay now?
Yep.
On the anniversary of that day, we were at Arromanches, where we are now, and I prepared this. And this is my experience on D-Day. If you'd like to read it.
A Time to Remember by Patrick Churchill. It was the 6th of June in 44. I stood there on a foreign shore. I had never been abroad before. I looked around. What did I see? White-faced young men, beached by cruel sea. They were alive the day before. But now, no more. What price to pay to make us free? Many years have passed, yet still we pray. The souls passed on from that D-Day.